We're
live.
Hello, everybody.
We are live.
Oh,
So, this is DevKami again, hearing from three geeks talking stuff. So, I'm not Tristan, I'm swimming.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
Tristan.
Tristan.
yeah.
And
Bill.
Ocean, Young is up here.
I
Disclaimer,
don't-
I do not
You're
know which
actually
direction
below
to-
me. Tristan is at that
Oh,
side
okay.
from me.
So I'm here.
You're the main
Okay.
screen, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So, before we go and talk to our topic today, let's have a few plug. For the next, okay, so what's the next event that you guys know of?
This Saturday is
DevOps.
DevOps meetup next Tuesday at
Yep.
Luxury, which is where I work at.
Yep.
Yeah,
Then
They
Saturday
host
we
the
had
Ubuntu Mirror, in case you didn't know.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But before that, Saturday we actually had blockchain
Ethereum,
Ethereum meetup.
workshop by Women Who Could KL.
Yeah.
Women who code.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool people.
Yeah.
Then after that, also happening right now is actually registration for the Malaysian Open Data Hackathon. So the registration started and ends on 17 next week. So if you want to join, we'll show you the link later in DevKami Facebook page. Then we had a law hackathon, and finally,
Ruby conference.
yes, get your Ruby conference ticket soon before it's too late. It's a hot ticket that get a lot of good speakers coming to Malaysia. Don't waste the opportunity.
Ruby core committers are coming.
Yes.
There's going to be interesting topics there.
Cool. So I think that's all the topic that we know of.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now we can move on to our topic, which will be about work-life balance or mental health.
But generally, how to take care of yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
take care of
As
yourself.
a software developer
Yeah.
or
Yes.
hardware developer or any kind of developer.
Yeah, in general, I think.
Yeah. So the first thing is don't work full time with this keyboard. Get ergonomic keyboard.
Yeah.
I actually have one downstairs, but
What's up with the keyboard? What's wrong with the keyboard?
it's small. So nowadays
Oh.
I actually had an ergonomic keyboard from Microsoft. They're actually very effective, and interestingly, it actually works well for gaming. And also some of the silly hack I do, this for hands, because for software developers, we are really at risk for RSI, and that's actually very dangerous, repetitive strain. So carpal tunnel is one of those things. So I think my current thing is my hand actually.
Is it
So I
is
had
it
ergonomic
worth
keyboard.
is it worth spending for an ergonomic keyboard, mouse, and
It's 300
cable?
ringgit.
I think
No,
it's
no, I don't
about the
have full set.
posture mainly.
Uh-huh.
So some people they switch to some other layout like the volley and stuff. But I actually had SI several years ago. So it's all about adjusting the posture. So you need to keep a proper distance and the height of the arm when you type, because over time, because you spend a lot of time typing, so you gain a lot of injuries over the time. So better to avoid
Wow.
them than trying to. But if it's an ergonomic keyboard suits you, yeah, go with it.
So it's
Yeah,
not
and
about
it's 300 ringgit.
keyboard? Oh, the keyboard.
Keyboard is just one of many.
I think the keyboard is just
So-
enforce you to be in certain posture.
Correct.
Yeah.
So because you
So-
actually have to split your hand, so instead of cramming, it's more. So it's
like this,
you
right?
don't
Yeah.
to cram. Yes. And also one of the silly hack I do is gaming mouse.
Yeah.
So
It's
gaming
like
mouse is actually
contoured
pretty.
to your hand, right? It's contoured to your
Yeah.
hand.
And here's the silly thing. So some of the gaming keyboard is relatively cheap, like less than 100 or so, around 100 or so. You can actually have DPI setting adjustment. So you can adjust high DPI so that you do not need to move your head, swing your head across the table to get that. So that actually is one of those silly hack. But that's one of the things I do nowadays.
My colleague, I was surprised. I saw one of our designers in a company. She has a mouse that it's like this. So you hold it like
Yes.
this, and then you move it around, and then you click like this. So it's instead of like this, it's actually vertical, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because apparently it's more natural for your wrist to be like this. So she does a lot of
Yeah.
Photoshop, so it's easier for her, I guess, for her wrists.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that was cool.
because
That was interesting.
if you use a normal mouse, the problem is moved this
Yeah.
way, so it's actually not very good
And
as
then if you're
compared as
like
you
this,
use a
right? Yeah. Like,
correct.
the table's too low or too high, you're like
Yes,
uh,
precisely.
contorted. Mhm.
And those are actually some of the hack. It's not an exhaustive hack, but it's something that works for me. Ideally, you should also get a chair, but this is only just on the posture side.
Yeah. I
So
think
Chi
any
Leong,
of
I
the thing,
was
just a proper height will
sorry.
do.
Chi Leong,
huh?
I was just a proper height will do. He says a proper height
Yeah.
of the chair and the table. But Chi Leong, I was interested. Did you have surgery? Like, how
No,
did you fix your RSI?
no, I just let it heal because it's not bad. But I'm gonna share like how it feels like. It's like the arms were
Yeah,
burning. But you know, you
burning
know, you
like
know,
fire.
you like sometimes we have some kind of itch, but you cannot scratch it out. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like painful, but it's you cannot find where it is. It's just not feeling so good with your arms.
but
Yeah.
medically, what is it? Is it a lesion? Is it like a cut inside
I don't
your
know. I never seen the doctor. It just
ligaments?
I just rest for a
Okay,
week.
it just
It
cut.
was a week of
Yeah, but
unproductivity. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
it's actually muscle ache.
yeah, it's not
I
that I
see.
can lift my
Okay.
arms. I can still do things. I can still eat.
Yes.
Just that it just feels really terrible and it feels hot all the time for the whole week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I
Okay.
actually had that. So the doctor said it's actually on the tendon. That's my
Ah.
thing. So those are swollen. So I took some pills. No surgery.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
actually, yes. So this just the arm part. These software developers are not healthy people.
Wow, that's
I'm sorry.
generalization, man. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
speaking of posture, standing desk or sitting desk, or it doesn't matter.
uh your call. I'm lazy, so I get a good chair as much as
Mm.
possible.
But does that contribute to like the bad posture as well? Like usually, if you're standing, you also get a say on how tall your desk
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. So among friends that do standing, that it works very well for them. But I'm lazy, so chairs works well for me.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
the
fine with
shape, it's the
both.
body shape of the chair.
I just
So it works.
find standing desk as in a way like force me to not relax or slack off during
Yeah.
work. So yeah, I wouldn't waste time like doing other stuff that is not productive. So
But
that's
I saw your table at Tuxuri. You don't have a standing desk.
I have a standing area.
You have a standing area. You
Yeah,
just bring your laptop over
yeah,
there and
yeah.
then
But
work. I see.
seldom do it. Yeah,
Okay.
because
We have a
Yeah,
whole.
I also had
Yeah.
some
Because.
overweight issue.
Mm.
It was worse last time. It's I for a period of time I actually used standing test quite specifically, but because the weight and because of my bone structure, I'm not sure the structure of my leg or something. I get the knee pain and stuff. So it was
Mhm.
not so pleasant after that. So I'm sitting more
and that
nowadays.
is just us getting old.
No, no, no. It's just taking care of yourself. Don't listen to Sui.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to take care of yourself.
We have a full line on the wall, like all of them standing desks, and I'm actually one that has a standing desk, and I find that it can be sometimes very tiring,
Yeah.
like to keep on standing the whole time. Sometimes, like after an hour or two, I just want to sit down and
I
take a
think the
break. So maybe
posture is
that's it,
important. I'm,
right?
I'm not sure because if it's not because of the knee pain, for me I actually feel less tired after a day work standing. I'm not sure it's your
Oh,
mileage may
interesting.
vary. Yeah, I'm not sure why.
So,
Probably
but
I snack less and stuff when I'm standing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but a big disclaimer: these are our anecdotal experience.
Yeah.
We are not medical
Yeah.
professional.
Inside
But
your
if you have
yeah.
RSI, go to check with your doctor. Seriously.
Yeah. But yeah,
Okay,
about the
so this is
posture.
just our postures, right? How about work hours or so? What you guys actually do?
Hmm.
Do you
Well,
actually take
I
a full holiday or
so
something?
for us, most of my team is actually overseas. Like we had like a month of work where each and every person of the team was in a different country. Like I was in Estonia, one of my colleagues was in Malaysia, someone was in Russia, someone was in Bulgaria, and then someone else was, I forgot where he was. But yeah, so we were all distributed, and that was interesting. So when I got back, I realized we can perform with as a remote team anyway. So I just spend the first half of my day at home working, being on
Yep.
Slack, making sure that I'm still available, and then just go to the office at 12, where the meetings usually happen after lunch. So that's
Right.
I think it's good for like I avoid the traffic jam in the morning because if you go out at 9 or at 8:30, like it takes a long time to just get out of that Bangsar um, uh, intersection. So if I go out at 12 or like 12:01, it's not as bad. Like or maybe 11, for example, to avoid the lunch hour jam, and it's good for my what do you call this, mental well-being, I guess, that I don't have to rush so much. I know I can still do stuff. I don't have to be in the office to show that I'm working because people know I'm working anyway. So yeah.
Oh, anybody's fan is on? Never mind. It's gone
Is
now.
it me? No. All right.
All right. Okay. So unfortunately, I actually live
let me
pretty
let me try to turn
far.
mine off.
Yeah.
How do I turn this off?
Yep.
No, Tristan, you actually turn your camera off.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's actually Windows 10.
Oh,
If
okay.
it detects black,
Okay.
Oh,
turns
okay.
it off.
Okay, that's
It's
a new feature.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Okay. So unfortunately, I don't have this luxury because I'm living with my family right now just to save costs. So I have to leave early.
It's fine.
Otherwise, I'll be reaching home by 10 p.m.
Mhm.
to avoid jam. So I usually leave early. I used to work in a workplace where there's a lot of overtime, as in you work at 9 and finish by 7 or so. So nowadays I used to work in flex up, but I'm a bit, how to say it? I'm a bit more pampered, spoiled. That's the word.
So, yeah.
So I'm more spoiled from flexible working hours, so I really can't work from 9 to 7 or so.
But don't you have work now that requires you to be at 9 to 7 in your work, or
I
you're still
actually
spoiled?
I actually I leave early, but I have
Ah.
some night thing that I do. That is not healthy, by the way. That's not healthy because which is why I like to talk about some of the side story. I digress a little. So in the early 20th century, for a long time, the labor movement actually tried to fight for 5 days work week and
Mhm.
8-hour work day. All right. So what happened is, and this like started from the late 1800s. But what really happened instead is Henry Ford, on his production line, he actually tried to set up to make it like people work for 5 days. Actually, the reason people work for 5 days because uh, the Jews had their Sabbath on Saturday and wake up on Sunday, but on Sunday the Christian had to go to church, so
Mhm.
the Saturday Sunday is off, which is why Saturday and Sunday is off across the world. But why 8-hour workday? Actually, Henry Ford said that, and actually found that 8-hour workday is more productive than say more than 8 hours. If you have to do more hours, then you have to do shift. That's what he find out.
Mhm.
So I actually use that as an excuse. It's an actual fact. I mostly use that excuse to work like around 8 hours or so, and I actually find that roughly correct. Roughly correct. Well, you can Google for that. Yeah, actually true.
It
So
is.
what
I
happened is
would agree. Yeah, I would agree. We had like uh, 1 week where I paired program with people in my team for 1 week,
yep,
6 hours per day. They don't want to do it anymore. Every day
yes,
they leave so exhausted. So like, okay, maybe 4 hours a day would be good. But yeah,
yeah,
approaching 8 hours is I would agree. It's so exhausting.
yes. So I think both of us work in the startup-ish environment, so we got very flexible working hour. But I used to work in traditional companies that tend to be, you're supposed to push as much as possible, but I don't find it productive. So that's my little experience on work hours. Except the part that,
Yeah, I actually don't mind working long hours. It's about like your mental state of how you view that. For me, it's I don't know. I'm a bit fortunate because as long as I get the things done, I'll feel relaxed. So, but mainly is as long as I also like get as like uh my stuff are sorted out and stuff, then I don't mind actually working longer hours. So just matter of getting things done so I can get it done and relax later. That kind of a mentality.
But how do you
most of
measure?
us do that.
I don't know. Just finish the stuff, then I'll have my own free time doing whatever I want. I actually sometimes like when even like I use the method like even if sometimes when I need to finish things, it's because of stuff that I need to like fix it really well. Then probably I spend a bit more time like in my personal hour to fix it. But I'll probably like play 1 or 2 hours of games and do whatever I want. Then after I'm a bit satisfied, then I'm okay with continue working. So yeah, I'm a bit fortunate in that sense. Like I don't feel like work is work.
Yeah, but I think it also depends on how we organize our work.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, for a lot of work, for a lot of project, our project is just like a never-ending list of to do on Kanban and whatever.
Yeah, it's a matter of how you view them. Like you have to even though the company isn't, you have to set a milestone for yourself. So at least like for that, you can after you reach that, you can in a way like celebrate yourself or whatever.
That's a good point. I was going to ask, like, how do you measure your productivity? Because like what Simon was saying, right? You have a never-ending list of cards in Trello, for example. Like, how do you have that particular goal? Let's say, okay, I'm done for the day, and I'm productive. How do you set that mark?
I actually don't have a scientific way of view it. No? I just feel like if I'm productive, then then I feel good at the end of the day, something like that.
Let's see. And swimming, do you have like, okay, I do 5 cards and that's it, or?
No, actually, I count my Pomodoro, but also here's one of the bad habit I brought in from the corporate world. I tend to live on time, and couple
is that
it
a bad
with,
habit?
It's not a bad habit.
Couple it with the flexible working hour, then I leave like early on time consistently. But how I measure productivity is usually I will keep adjusting what I have done. So essentially, it's how many ticket close. So the issue is a lot of how I do it is context dependent. So for example, big ticket, maybe if I have a big ticket, maybe one cut done, that's it. Maybe it's like a series of small ticket which is well defined. Yeah, maybe like we get some small ticket that, how do I know it's small ticket? Maybe it's a 1 line code or 5 line code thing. Maybe I have 10 of those done, then we count it productive. A lot of it is gut feeling, but another way I measure is actually by Pomodoros. Pomodoro, for those that don't know, is essentially Pomodoro is essentially the tomato clock. Okay, so essentially
Pomodoro is tomato.
It's the tomato. Actually. It's actually tomato, and why tomato? Because the clock is a timer with a tomato shape.
I think that the methodology is you do several small tasks that last around 25 minutes. Then after that you have a block of relaxing time yourself for like 15 to half an hour after like 4 tasks.
So no, it's essentially like one task 5 minutes. After 4 tasks, you get 15 minutes. Then you continue.
Okay. So sorry, just a quick trivia. I asked Google, how long does it take to bake a tomato? It says roast for 25 to 30 minutes until the tomatoes are concentrated and beginning to caramelize. So maybe that's where it came from.
Yes, precisely. Actually, that have the origin from there. So how we do it is like, by the time we finish 4 more Pomodoro, is roughly lunch hour or so. Then I can take some break, then come back.
I don't know.
and do another
The thing I
4.
find Pomodoro does. I find it only works with job that is a bit boring or repetitive. But if you're
Like
gonna do
customer
some
support, let's say, yeah.
yeah, if you're gonna
Yeah.
do some creative work and stuff, you rely on the stuff like called the zone and stuff. So in order to get into it,
Yes.
you need a bit of time to get into it. So I don't like the way like Pomodoro actually distract you in a way. For me, it's
Mm.
like it distract you. Oh, 25 minutes, you should take a break or something like that. So I prefer it to like have a two like at least a long hour block until this thing is finished and without any distraction. So it depends on the type of work you are doing. Like if it's a repetitive, boring stuff, then Pomodoro is a very
Yeah.
easy way to get in a way like motivated. It's like
Yeah. Oh, the
some
next break is happening
yeah,
soon,
something
so
like that.
Yes.
finish it.
So it's
Speaking of
essentially.
like
Can you see it?
No.
No, it's too bright.
too bright.
No.
Yeah. So I was asking about measurement because I've been using this service called Wakatime for the past few years. It's actually quite interesting. So they call it themselves the Fitbit for developers because you
Yep.
install the plugin in like VS Code or Vim or Emacs, and then it just measures whenever you're typing code. And so, for example, sometimes you'll get 4 hours writing code, 6 hours writing code for a day, and then you have
Yeah.
your graph, and then it tells you, oh, this day you only did like 3.5 hours of code. Then you'll say, okay, oh, it's a Tuesday. There's a lot of meetings happening on that time. That's why I wasn't coding as much. But it's actually interesting to see how much you're actually being productive, because sometimes I would feel, oh, I wrote a lot of code, but then Wakatime will tell me, actually, it's only been 4 hours of actual typing. Probably most of the time was spent writing on paper your ideas or like browsing through documentation and those things. So not just about code. And then that's when you realize, oh yeah, that's how I was productive. It's because not just coding, but also about looking through documentations, reading articles, watching YouTube tutorials and those things. Have you
But do
tried
you
them?
actually schedule it?
No, I don't schedule it. So that's the thing. That's what's good about Wakatime is that it's passive. It's not like
How do you
what was
spell it?
this?
How do you spell it?
WAKA time. Like what was that? The in 2012, the theme song of World Cup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll dream about it.
And also Vuvuzela.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's the thing. Who was it? Shakira, right? Shakira.
Yeah,
But
Shakira.
so this is passive. It's not like I forgot that timer that where toggle, for example. Toggle is where you measure, you type in. It's more for freelancers, right? Like to find out what you have been doing, and then you mark your, okay, first hour to third hour, this is what I did, and then you basically create a sheet, a chart sheet based on that. So Wakatime is different because it just measures the whole day. It just keeps track of what you've been doing, and then you review it, and then maybe you can create your chart sheet based off of that. So it's very, very interesting for me.
But have
It's
any
good
of
for
you
me to
guys actually do timesheet like for yourself?
I used to when I'm freelancing, but not now.
Okay.
So
Because
same.
I had nightmare doing timesheet in my corporate life.
I don't know how you guys
We
do it,
almost
but
always lie.
basically I put it as in like productive hours. So like probably if I work for 8 hours, like you have some procrastination and distraction. So probably
Yeah.
if productive hour is around like 5 to 6 hours if it's a very good day. So I'm not sure how it goes.
So the reason I had nightmare is because uh, the it's a mandatory timesheet which we almost always lie anyway. So which is why I have bad experience for timesheet, which is why when I raise toggle, I wonder if any of you actually do something like that. It's supposed to keep track of time, but I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. Or more like I have bad experience from my corporate time. So okay. So talk about continuing on the whole idea of productive time. Do you only count coding as productive, or you count learning as productive?
I count learning as a cost for myself.
learning. Mhm.
So how do you schedule that? So for example, do you schedule learning within your day at work, or is something that you do after work, for example? So YouTube video
I don't know.
or
I think
long
it's
YouTube.
both. Most of my free time is actually spent now watching lots of tutorials on YouTube and actually trying it. So I'm trying out Flutter right now, for example,
Yep.
and tying it to mental health. I find that it's good for me to keep on learning and
Yep.
trying to challenge myself, because if I don't, I feel so bored and feel so depressed. Like what am I supposed to be doing now, and those things, and then I
Yeah.
become unhealthy. I oversleep, just watching strange like
Stranger
YouTube
Things.
videos or getting deep into Wikipedia rabbit hole. And then you wake up at like 2 p.m., then you sleep at like 4 a.m., and it's not very, very healthy. So if I find that if I have actually something like a goal to go through, like something to learn, this is a new thing that I'm doing, then
Yeah.
I'm a bit more healthy with what I'm doing in my day to day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel the same as
I'm
well.
with you. So
Mm-hmm.
I constantly okay. I always thought it's a novelty thing because I like shiny thing. I don't trust in production software, but I like shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to call it shiny
You probably
things,
like
which
JavaScript
is
then. There's a lot of
I
shiny
have to
things.
use it. I okay. That sometimes JavaScript has some good idea, so maybe we incorporate that. Again, context specific. It's context
Yeah,
specific,
and just
but
because you don't like something doesn't mean that you can't use it. Like we have to use it, so it doesn't mean that I like it, for example, but I have to use it. And because we're
yes,
professionals, we
Yeah,
have to
yep.
do, you have to learn it, do the best at it.
yeah,
But if our boss says you can use whatever technology you want, or like if the situation calls anything that you want, then of course I'll just use you do whatever I prefer. I'm not going to do it in
Yeah.
JavaScript, for example.
yeah,
I used to work with COBOL, so to me, anything modern is good
yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
So to be honest,
Back to the thing like Trish said, like when you need to feel like you have a goal every day. I sort
Yeah.
of agree with that. So even like when I'm on holiday, I need to like have a goal of what should I
Mm-hmm.
accomplish every day. So it's, I don't know. It's just in a way like masochistic kind of a
so
personality.
you guys actually had you guys actually had tickets for your holiday.
Yeah, you have to feel like you did something like at least clean your room or something like that.
Mm.
So if
Right.
Oh, so
I
you have a
Right.
to-do list? Do you actually write a to-do list
no
on
I wake up
paper?
knowing what to do and then just do whatever
Oh,
that I
wow.
feel
Okay.
like I should.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I need to learn from you.
Yeah, if I like play
Mm.
game for like 2 days straight, I would feel really bad about it.
I don't. Sometimes
I don't know,
when
Jabo.
BattleTech came out, that's horrible. I had to play it. I had to finish it. So whenever new stuff comes out, I have to finish it. So
Yeah.
that's why now I'm living my gaming life through Let's Plays on YouTube, because
Yeah.
at least I can stop because
Yeah.
the episode ends, right? But if I
Yeah.
buy the game, I can't stop until I finish it,
Really?
unfortunately.
Okay. I usually limit my game time on. In fact, it's amazing that
Did you
for the
limit your
last two
game
days I
time
did.
at all?
No, no, I didn't actually leave my game time because I have a Switch and I installed
Oh,
Stardew Valley on this. So I had
okay.
it on the train.
Mm-hmm,
So I had it
mm-hmm.
on the train. So here's the cool thing about living pretty far from KL. It's not too far. It's just like maybe 2 hours of public transport, 20 minutes of car. But you get to read and you get to play games and all that, catch up on games. But not
Mm-hmm.
all games, but some games, some games.
I
So, for
see.
example, Exapunks, I spend too much time on it, which is not healthy because it's a programming game, and we're programmer. I'm a programmer that play programming game
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
is hard. So,
I see.
yes,
How
but
about you, Chilong?
so
What kind of? Sorry, assuming we're still saying
Yeah.
something.
no, no,
Yeah.
no.
He
Since
has
we
a lot
talk
of things
about
to
game
say
right
about
now,
games.
Well,
yeah, I
it's
like
about
games.
relaxation,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I,
yeah.
think
So
yeah,
we
for me
might
it's
as well talk about
not so
hobbies
much.
now.
Like,
You guys
what
should
do you
talk.
play
So
now?
for
What
me
are
me,
you
or you
playing now,
guys?
Chilong? Yeah, well, both of you.
I'm a bit in a way like similar like you say like if a game came out I'll play obsessively
Mm.
until like I get really bored with it then I'll just leave it alone. Right now I'm playing the PC version of Monster Hunter.
Oh, okay.
So it's yes. I actually just weighed it off like last week because like for 2 weeks I spent like over 100 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then now I'm off it. Yeah.
Okay.
But even like when I was binging, I still like spend 1 or 2 hours trying to write some codes and stuff because that is the part that is supposed to make me feel good about myself,
Mm.
not being
Oh,
so.
does it actually make you feel
Yeah,
good? I don't know. Sometimes.
I actually forced myself to get out and go to some
Ah,
place and do some a bit work, then yeah, get back home and continue playing.
yeah. Yeah, for me, games is like this unhealthy junk food that it feels so good to eat it, but afterwards you feel so depressed. Like, why did
Yeah,
I mess
yeah,
up my diet because of this?
yeah.
It's like in Christmas, for example, last year, was it 2 years ago when XCOM 2 came out, War of the Chosen? Like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
the
terrible.
whole Christmas vacation was just playing XCOM, and
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2
Oh, okay.
came out. That was like, okay, my whole
Yeah.
vacation was gone. Good thing BattleTech is a short game,
Yeah.
so because I have a 1070 laptop, so like all
Goodness
of the games are like
gracious.
quite nice.
Yeah.
So it's
Cool.
it's interesting. What
So
games
how
are you
about
playing now,
hobby?
streaming? Just
Exapunks,
Twitch.
Surviving Mars, Two Point Hospital. So recently I've been switching to Linux.
Mm-hmm.
So on most of the game I play is like indie games nowadays. Actually, it's because I'm setting up mostly for machine learning purposes. I mean, I used to set one out of it. I used to have Windows machine so that I can play a game, but setting up CUDA on the Windows machine is annoying. So I give up and I set up. I just flash it with Ubuntu. It works. It works very well. Then turns out that I still have enough game to play on Linux, which is weird, but
Yeah.
it is what it
If
is.
you don't know, actually,
So
swimming is the person that if within our circle owns all the game under the sun. Legend
Monster
says.
Hunter.
Yeah.
but also sometimes I read books. I need to catch up on a few books nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So actually I read quite a few books. I just discovered that Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman
Mm-hmm.
is the paperback version is out for 45 ringgit, which is actually pretty cheap. So I might get it soon. Then also the author of *Sapiens* also had a new book, 21 things for the 21st century. That book is a little expensive, but I might still get it because I'm a fanboy of that guy. So yes, that's my hobby outside computers. Do you guys actually have hobbies outside computers?
I,
You
That doesn't
record
involve
videos.
computers.
I record
Okay,
videos.
that doesn't.
I read book as well. So I only started to read about more about fantasy since like this Raya. I used to read very little fiction stories. So most of my books
Okay.
were textbooks. So I started binging on at least when I start late, I kind of selection for me. So right now I'm binging on the Stormlight Archive. It's a
Oh, okay.
pretty easy entry level kind of fantasy novel. So,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So how about
Speaking of
Tristan?
books,
Yeah.
I actually have a very large back catalog of stuff on Humble Bundle, and I actually had to write a script that
Yeah.
parses through the web page, creates like wget URLs with the session ID so that I can download all of the books and put it on my NAS because it's just a long list
Yeah.
since 2013, I think, or something, 2014. I forgot when I was there when Humble Bundle first started out, when it's just one bundle per month, and now they have a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
books. I have a
Yes.
lot downloaded. I haven't gone through all of them. I think I should start actually reading some of them because some of them are already very how do you
Oh,
call this? Oh yeah, is my video frozen?
yes.
yes.
I don't know why it's
So
frozen.
I have the same situation, but I found some cool gems from Humble Bundle. So I discovered Japanese science fiction that's translated. So two of the book that's very interesting. One is called MM9. MM9 is actually your Japanese monster movie turned into a novel. So it's very interesting. Another one is called Orbital. Wait, let me search it. Orbital. Sci-fi. Japanese.
What happened to my camera?
It's Windows.
Gone.
It's gone. You want
Just
to
stop.
relock
Did it
it?
overheat or something? I probably will. Yeah, let me just.
Orbital Cloud. That's the one. That's the gems I found. So Orbital Cloud is one of those books. Is it recording?
Yeah, we'll wait him to get back.
Yeah. Let's wait for him to get back.
By Taiyo Fuji.
Yes. Orbital Cloud is interesting in the way that. Okay, so it's space. I'm a space nerd, and also it's very heavy in programming. So that's that. Taiyo Fuji has some very interesting book. Another one is called Gene Mapper, but that one is a little meh, but I think it's okay. So
Yeah, so my camera apparently locked up. It's still shining even.
Do you
if
want to
I'm not
restart?
using
We
it, so
can
I'm not
wait
sure.
for you.
I probably will. Yeah, just continue on, and I'll be back soon.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's fine.
Oops, shouldn't do that. So actually, Humble Bundle at one time actually had Japanese science fiction.
I didn't know they have fiction sales.
Yeah. Occasionally they have it. They don't do that a lot nowadays, but they do have it. In fact, another gems I found is called Spin. Have you read that before?
No idea. You have to tell me.
Spin. Let me find the name. I read it like 2-3 years back. Spin novel by Robert Wilson. Very interesting.
It's a
premise.
trilogy.
Yeah, it's a trilogy, but I only read the first book. I think the first book is very good and enough to occupy your time. Then we have. I'm going to talk about books from now on, isn't it?
I'm just using my iPad now.
Yeah.
I'm using my iPad.
Cool. Let me drag you down somewhere.
Okay.
Much more reliable, probably.
Yeah, it looks clearer as well.
So either way, Humble Bundle occasionally have some very interesting gems on science fiction. So
they have the UX bundle coming ongoing right now, so I think I have that. Oh no, or I might be getting that. I'm not sure. I have to like the machine learning bundle that they had. I'm not a fan of. I don't know if you've seen it. It's not very.
But
sometimes they have like the packet pub stuff.
No, not the packet pub one. No, they had a packet pub one that is meh. But previously there is one by O'Reilly. Those are pretty good lists.
Okay.
But that is gone. That's gone already. I know they had one bundle for machine learning, but there is like PackPub. That's meh, not that great. But O'Reilly one that they got a few good gems inside.
I think we need to send an episode about sharing books that we read. So,
yeah. So we should do it next time. You know what? I got a long list of books to share. So that's next time.
No, we'll do a swimming special. How about later?
Yeah. We'll do the book sharing.
Yeah, swimming
stuff.
only.
Yeah.
Like,
highway has the problem of all the car traffic,
Sorry.
but it has a really dramatic.
Yeah, we can do a swimming.
The laptop just.
So I just created this.
Stop. Okay.
What just happened?
We need to do a swimming a book from swimming every week.
All right. So, what other thing you guys do?
No, I think we need to focus on the topic, like how to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
We try to talk about hobbies.
Yeah. Hobbies. Oh, yeah. Hobbies.
So,
in a way, is taking care of yourself.
Yeah. So either way, I think one of the things that we are really suck at for software developers is we don't have hobbies outside computers.
No,
we don't
that's generalization, man.
Yeah. But I think it's important to have hobbies outside computers.
Yeah, well, if ever you're interested in singing in a choir, you can join my choir. We sing. We're singing. I think what is this? Wicked from the Wicked musical, and it's interesting, and also from Into the Woods.
And also this weekend, I don't have time to go. It's too far for me. There's actually European sword fighting.
Do you do sword fighting?
No, I
Or do
want
you
to
just
learn it.
watch? You
I want to
learn it?
learn it because, it's just one of those things that is not, there is something that you don't do every time.
So
I know some of the guys actually
so
know
I
martial
actually
arts.
should follow you guys one day, like follow Tris to his choir for recording what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and streaming about his sword fighting, I would like to watch.
I never joined yet.
Yeah,
I never joined because there's somebody recommended
You
it to
can
me.
you can do a special on engineers at my right,
Yeah.
like engineers not being engineers or something.
Yeah, this sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, we
Or
have a question
engineers
for
might
Ivan
too.
on YouTube.
Mm.
Swimming, you became a manager.
No, I'm not a manager. I just, after listening to a few podcasts, it sounds like a good idea. So,
Oh, you want to be a manager? Sounds
no,
like a
it
title of a
doesn't.
book. So you want to be a manager?
Yeah, because I imagine myself to be a Unix graybeard. So either way, we have enough of activity. How about holiday? Do you guys have holidays? Or do you guys actually
Just-
go somewhere for holidays?
that go somewhere. Well, I go to the Philippines once a year for my
This is
holidays.
going home to you, right? I'm
That's
sorry.
what, sorry?
Is that going home for you?
Going home, yeah, going home to the Philippines, and then
Okay, maybe that
spend
counts.
like a month or so
Okay.
there, and then come back.
Cool. So I know Chilean goes to Ipoh occasionally.
The point of view
So-
is I don't like to. If I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna travel around Malaysia because I hate flying. It's like the most dehumanized experience ever, especially like the long waiting in the airport, the kind of stress and the kind of space in the airplane.
I especially don't like on flying the cramped space. Like I always have a stiff neck after the flight.
Also the kind of
it's like
yeah.
2 months.
Also
Like 2 months, my neck will be horrible.
So not a fan of travel then.
Not a fan
Not
of
a fan of
traveling
flying.
with flying. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, but you guys do take holidays, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, it just came from a long holiday.
Okay.
Not very productive sprint actually, because everyone was on holiday. Like, we're supposed to be doing something, and then everyone's out. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's an
I'm
issue.
not going to do anything.
We got too much of those. So anything to add on about wellness? We talk about holiday, hobbies, work hours.
How do you take care of yourself mentally? Like it's part of the hobby that the distress and stuff. So, well, anything you want to say about like in terms of mental wellness and stuff? How do you keep yourself sane in this kind of hectic working lifestyle and stuff like that?
With what we do, well, it's not just for developers, but for the rest of the company. We do have something called One Up. It's like an appreciation system. So basically, it's like a platform where if you feel that someone like did something really extraordinary for you, you just send them a One Up, and then everyone knows about it. So I think it helps a lot because it, like for myself, for example, I feel really good when someone sends me a One Up. I'm sure other people would feel really good if they receive a One Up, especially from someone they weren't expecting it from. And it's just a way of acknowledging other people, saying that, hey, whatever it is that you're doing actually matters.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's like a small thing that happens in my company.
So it's a One Up thing you give or something that you say?
So it's a like a small web platform. It's been there since I started. So and it's just been it's the same database. The interface has just been evolving, but people basically say, okay, swimming, I'll send you this. I don't know, like cafe latte of awesomeness or something. And then for being such a great system administrator and helping me
and a manager
make sure and a manager helping me with my key result areas or something like that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So this is new to me actually. So that's interesting.
I
so
think
anything
it's
else
about like communications. So
yes,
but it's aside from communication, like aside from just acknowledging it like personally, like saying it through Slack, for example. This is like it's different. I don't know. I don't know how it's different, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good idea.
Mhm.
So usually my old way in corporate life is usually like give and give, but I think for workplace, I think it's important to it's about self-respect between teams. So that is actually very context based because work environment actually tend to actually help your work environment, your well-being. Because if you start imagining your office to be an arena for the Hunger Games, I think that's a problem. But
Yeah.
and it's about
It's
setting up
all
your
up to
workplace
the
environment.
culture.
Yes,
Mm.
it's about setting culture. So I work in few companies. Some of the best culture can really change your life. So
Mm.
I don't have good example. I can't think of any right now, but I understand that. So
Another thing that we're doing, well, again, we are a personal growth company, so we should be
yeah,
expected to do a lot of these mental well-being stuff, right? Like we have this thing called lunch roulette. So
yep.
people who are in the same channel, like once a week, the bot assigns them, pairs them randomly, and then just says, okay, you're going to have lunch with this person within the week.
Cool.
And
Okay, we
then
do
it's
lunch
just like,
outside.
yeah, it's like it's sometimes people who have never don't really know each other. It's because a third party, like a bot, basically told them that they're supposed to be there. So it's a neutral party, right? That they're supposed to meet each other and have lunch. Then they're forced to go there, or like at least they have an excuse to actually go and meet up and then talk to each other. So it's a good way
Okay.
for people to start meeting each other and connecting with each
Mm.
other, asking it. And
Good
that
idea.
bot also has like seed questions, like if you had someone to invite over dinner, who would that be? Or tell your buddy uh, what their most interesting talent is, and there's no sugarcoating.
Oh, I
Don't
remember you
like
shared,
be very very.
you did
Hmm?
it for the Ruby Slack before,
I
right?
did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ooh, we should
That's
try
like
that.
the start of that. So we also have these things. So it's small things that make a tiny difference but it does make a difference for the well-being of the people, not just for engineers.
Yeah, it's about even though we talk about software engineers, some of it might be applicable. But any of you guys actually do things like meditation at work or something?
Not at work, and it's not the woo-woo kind of meditation that you might think. So in terms of books, I would advise you to read Search Inside Yourself. I forgot the name
Yep.
of that guy. Wait, let me see. Search Inside Yourself. It's by the Google Chief Happiness Officer.
Uh
I forgot
huh.
his name. It's meditation basically for engineers.
Oh, okay.
Chade, who's this?
Yeah,
I
I
forgot.
think I
Chade
might have
Meng
his
Tan.
book.
Chade Meng Tan. I don't know how to pronounce his. He seems to be Chinese. Chade Meng Tan. Search Inside Yourself.
Yeah,
It's only $10 on Kindle, so
yeah.
it's about teaching mindfulness and meditation to engineers, and people in Google are very very evidence based, for example, or very
Uh-huh.
scientifically inclined, and so that's actually what resonated with me a lot. Like it dives down into why mindfulness actually works, and once you understand the basic fundamentals of it, then you can start applying it. So you can say that you wouldn't have like something like that. Some It works for some people, but it's really about being mindful
Mm.
about the
Hmm?
present, and it makes
You know what
a
you're
lot
doing.
of
You,
sense.
you know what
Well,
like,
if you
know and
yeah,
focus on what
if
you're
you
doing,
go
basically.
to the correct, yeah, if you go through the fundamentals of what actually mindfulness is, and you remember what that particular state of mind feels like,
Yeah.
then you would know how to get there.
Yep.
And you know, okay,
Cool.
it feels like this, so I can get there again. And usually, after it feels like this, I feel a lot less anxious, less worries, or whatever. So I would recommend, like,
Interesting.
if we're doing the book recommendations, I would recommend this for mindfulness as well. It takes away the woo woo and all of this esoteric
Mm. It's not.
misconceptions about what mindfulness is about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting a little late. We covered quite a lot of things. Anything we
Are we
forget?
okay?
Yeah, we're at 40,
11, 12.
40 minutes into it.
Oh, we are only at 40
Yeah,
minutes.
because it started quite late.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
So anything else about wellness that we cover workplace just now? I even talk about Hunger Games, but let's not go there.
Oh, we have 15 minutes.
But yeah, but well, any of you too practice mindfulness, or you don't really know what it is about yet, or
I don't know.
you
I
think
tried
it's
some.
Yeah.
I tried some meditation ones occasionally. That
No,
works
it's not
very well.
mumbo jumbo. It's actually it's pretty scientific
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm a practitioner of vipassana, so it's actually insight
Mm.
meditation. So it's actually just focus on what you're doing, so and what you're feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
basically. So it's not necessarily like just sitting there to do nothing. That is just like
No.
a training. It's like training. It's like a running exercise. You don't need that to run, but it's a way to train your muscle. So mainly
Mm.
about like focusing on what you're doing and not be controlled by whatever like all those compulsive thoughts and stuff
Mm.
your brains like to give you.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, I went to this temple nearby in KL. I forgot. It's the street where all of the different religion temples are there. There's one Buddhist temple there, and the Buddhist was uh, teaching us how to be mindful. So basically, the exercise was we walk around, but we think about, okay, my right foot is
Yeah.
I'm lifting my right foot, and then my right heel is touching the floor, and how do I feel about it? And now my right toe is touching the floor, and now I'm taking a breath. It's like you have to think about everything what it is that you're doing, and just being mindful and being in the present. And we're just walking around.
Surprisingly harder than you
Just really
thought.
walking around. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that was an interesting experience.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I
swimming
think
is not convinced. His face says
I'm
no, not
convinced.
convinced.
Fine.
I'm convinced, but I'm worried about my
Okay.
laptop right now.
Why?
Okay. About
It's
your
out of
laptop
juice
health
soon.
then.
Yes. It's going out of battery soon.
Okay.
They gave me a warning already.
Okay. So
But you
So
know
anything
this.
else?
Well, I'm just going to relate this to somewhere else, like in San Francisco. I think the reason why a lot of these mindfulness exercises, meditation is very, very big in San Francisco because they have an epidemic of stress and anxiety over there, like the Silicon Valley, right? And I don't know if that's present here in Malaysia, or do we have people who are burning out? Because I think people here are pretty
Yes.
chill, not like the startup culture over there where they do 16-hour
yeah.
marathons and just getting their startup launched. So I
Okay.
think we're still okay here, but maybe there will come a time when
So
we
sound
really,
good?
really become
Yeah.
stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. So I just put in power just now. Go crazy.
So
Yeah.
do you,
All right.
So no, I was just
so do
I
we
think
have a
in the
topic
making
for the
that
next
kind of
one?
comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have people on YouTube? What do they suggest?
Yeah. We have
So-
just some questions and stuff. Like getting in the it's
So-
about getting in the zone. Sometimes you just have a good days and bad days.
Mhm.
So
Oh well, speaking of that, so the argument here is that if you know what a good day feels like, then won't it be more productive to actually just take control and get yourself to that particular
I think
happy
sometimes it depends
place,
because like if you have too many like meeting schedule and stuff, it disturb you quite a bit. So it still depends on the day.
because often you also work in the environment because it's easier to say we are in control, but often we are working with a group of people that may or may not share the same idea because we work in a society. So that's another thing as well. So yeah, in theory we should try to aim for the good day, but once you have a group of people, everything just it's not as predictable as you want. You get the idea? It's one of those things that
Well, it's that's an interesting view because some people will say that reality is actually how you perceive it, right? That someone might whatever a person says might be insulting, but that's because you perceive it as insulting, not because you perceive it as okay. Why exactly this? Like maybe back to your being mindful, right? Like, why am I feeling this way? What is triggering me to be insulted? And then suddenly you transform it like some sort of aikido. You transform the energy outwards instead, like where yes, you acknowledge the feeling that you got insulted or you felt insulted, and then find out okay, what was the motivation behind that, and figure out and not let it affect the rest of your day. So maybe that's that's an interesting view and perspective.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Also, like if it's not a productive feeling or something stupid you want to say, just don't say it. Something like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's okay to shut up.
No, it's not necessarily okay. It's like how much if you say out, does it help at all? Like certain remarks and stuff. Sometimes because it's just all the angry saying and stuff. So you don't need to say it out. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's easy. Sometimes it's good.
Not that you shouldn't be truthful. You should be truthful, but when you're in the middle of not in a rational mind, then you should have more try to have more control of it.
Yeah.
Do we have more questions on YouTube?
No.
No.
All right.
Okay.
We have a wow from Johnson Lai. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a wow.
We probably went
wow.
a bit. Yeah, we probably went a bit too meta for the topic.
Okay.
We probably should go through another one for this. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think from today I learned quite a few things, not just about how to do things. I think it's very educational for me because I should learn meditation more nowadays.
Yeah, just
it depends again. I would still recommend reading the book because I was working at a personal growth company, and I didn't really believe in what they were talking about until I read this book, and that's how I understood. Oh, okay, this was actually the reasons behind, and so I got to a different type of understanding than what our courses are saying. But in the end, they're all talking about the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not it's not the kind of mumbo jumbo, magical, mystical, give you superpower kind of stuff. It's just mental training.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have a few topics nowadays, and we're going to. Okay, so here's what happened to the.
I'll give you a task. You're the topic manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can look
do
at
a lower third on here.
Yeah.
Lower third topic manager.
Where? How do I do that? What?
No. Because we can have you a badge while you're talking.
Yeah.
All right.
Topic manager.
So we're going to have some interview for a few events. We try to do that as much as possible. And what happened to part 2 of PyCon?
Oh, haven't finished yet.
Ah.
Yeah, I was not around last week as well.
All right. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
So look forward to part 2 of PyCon. Then we have
who are they looking forward to interview? Like who are we supposed to be interviewing soon? Do you know?
I don't have any idea yet.
You're going to some events this Saturday?
Not this Saturday.
No, he's talking about me. My event is essentially work my ass off to finish the job test thing. That's my event. Yeah. Unfortunately, I need to finish that soon because it's getting a little silly for not finishing that thing. So
I might be getting Shafu, who used to be with Taximonger and UX expert, and then Natu, who's also from Maldives, used to be from Service Hero. They do a lot of hackathons in Maldives. They're currently both at my company, and I might get them soon as well. So look forward for an interview with UX experts. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes. I saw some of the work. They work with some like Lottie stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did Lottie files. In case you didn't know, they've been in the US quite a lot, meeting with Airbnb, who did Lottie, and then lots of acknowledgments from them. So they're quite good. We will have a lot of fun interviewing them. I'm just getting a schedule from them for the interview.
So yes, review. So look forward to us. We got more and more things to show next time. We might even do a book review show, but
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
future.
for you. We'll do a one-to-one like swimming book. Yeah, yeah. Books with swimming.
Swimming, talking
with
about the
swimming,
books.
Books with swimming.
Which are good, which are bad.
So I think that's all from us. Anything else you want to add on before we leave?
No.
If you have any kinds of like topics that you want us to tackle,
Or you just want to get on.
I don't think we have any limits, right? No limits.
No
anything.
limits.
Anything at all.
Try to make it roughly technology related.
Okay.
Roughly.
We'll find a way to link it to technology.
Yeah.
And we'll just mention it on YouTube or on Facebook. And we'll try to see if we can slot it in.
So with that said, goodbye from me.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye. I'm gonna stop it.